What if the person you trusted with your heart was planning your death from thievery? First message. On February 14, 2024, Valentine's Day, a luxury honeymoon suite in Queensland, Australia, became a crime scene so brutal, investigators would call it calculated evil. But this wasn't a crime of passion. This was the final chapter of a romance that was designed to kill from day one. Could you have seen it coming? Can you piece together the signs, the hidden truths? This is the history of how love became a weapon, and what you're about to hear might change the way you trust forever. Olivia Chen wasn't supposed to die at 31. She was supposed to save lives. At Toronto General Hospital, Olivia was known as the Angel of the Year, a dedicated emergency room nurse. She spent 7 years working night shifts, working tirelessly to save lives. Even those others had given up on. She wasn't just a nurse, she was a lifeline. Patients often requested her specifically, feeling the warmth and care she brought. Even the most chaotic of nights, but outside the hospital, Olivia's life was as easy to patch up. At 29, after her divorce, she found herself alone. Her ex-husband had left her for a younger colleague. Olivia's salary of $62,000 was stretched thin, supporting her aging mother, who was battling dementia. On her 30th birthday, after another exhausting 16-hour shift, she spent the night alone as the weight of her responsibilities pressed down on her. Her co-workers called her the Angel of the Year. Patients requested her specifically. But Olivia's biggest strength was also her fatal flaw. She believed everyone deserved compassion, even monsters in disguise, and unthemed. It was that very belief that led her to a fate no one saw coming. Loneliness doesn't discriminate. It finds the strongest people in their weakest moments. Her mother's dementia had only gotten worse, draining every penny Olivia had saved for herself. Thuman, who had once been the rock of her life, now required constant care. And the weight of it was crushing. Friends from her past had moved on, married, had children, and settled into suburban lives. They invited Olivia to their gatherings, but she couldn't shake the feeling that she no longer fit in their world. After some gentle encouragement from her co-workers, Olivia finally downloaded dating apps. She thought it might help her feel less alone. But after 3 years, all she had was a string of disappointing dates and ghosted messes. She had become accustomed to disappointment. The dates never lived up to the promise. Yet, what hurt more was the secret shame she carried, her struggle with being single, and the financial burden of caring for her mother. Olivia wasn't looking for a fairy tale. She wasn't asking for perfection. She just wanted someone who wouldn't leave, someone who would stay through the hard parts, someone who could see her and still choose to stay. And that's exactly what made her the perfect target. Diego Valdez had a gift. He could become whoever you needed him to be. He was a 38-year-old Philippine-Australian dual citizen, a man who could easily slip into any role: successful restaurant owner, devoted father, grieving widower. His profile claimed that he was a restaurant owner in Manila who had tragically lost his wife Victoria to breast cancer 3 years ago. A man broken by loss yet trying to rebuild his life with his young twin boys. His photos painted a story of hope and resilience, a man overcoming tragedy, surrounded by love. There were even photos of him cooking with his adorable children, Lucas and Leo, his arms wrapped protectively around them. But here's what Olivia didn't know. The truth was far darker. There was no restaurant in Manila. There was no Victoria. And those twin boys, they didn't belong to him. They were the children of a family in Singapore. Their faces unknowingly used to hunt women across the world. Olivia had fallen for the lie just like so many others before her. Diego Valdez wasn't looking for love. He was looking for prey. Diego didn't just lie. He built an architecture of deception, so intricate, so perfectly calibrated to Olivia's vulnerabilities that escaping became impossible. Diego's manipulation didn't happen overnight. It was a slow, calculated process. A seduction timeline designed to break down Olivia's defenses. He studied her like a surgeon studies anatomy. He knew Olivia sent money to her mother every month, so created stories about his own sick parent. He knew she worked night shifts and felt guilty about it, so he called her during those lonely 3 o'clock a.m. hours when defenses were lowest. He knew she wanted to be a mother. So he gave Hurtwell little boys who needed her. When Olivia's best friend, Patricia, questioned the timeline, Diego had answers were ready. In Filipino culture, wouldn't waste time. When we find our soulmate, why would I wait when I've already lost so much time without her? Olivia defended him. She had to. She'd already sent him $12,000. By then, Olivia was too deep in the web to pull out. She had invested to Mook emotionally, financially, and with her heart. But Diego was always 3 steps ahead, manipulating her every move. By December 2023, Olivia Chen wasn't just in love. She was trapped. Diego's manipulation had woven a net so tight around Olivia, she couldn't see the way out. He was everywhere in her thoughts, her plans, her decisions. He had expertly isolated her piece by piece. There was no one left to question his influence. She had no idea how much had drained her, not just financially, but emotionally. The woman who once saved lives had become a lifeline for a man she'd never met. Then came the proposal. It wasn't romantic. It was a trap. Diego told her they'd marry in Australia neutral ground, Hasaid, a destination wedding. Just that of them. Before returning to Manila to meet the boys. I want you all to myself first, he whispered during late-night video calls. Is that so wrong? Olivia thought it was perfect. She had never felt more wanted, more loved. But there were conditions she hadn't seen. One she would never have agreed to had she known the truth. When Olivia suggested bringing her mother or Patricia, Diego's mask slipped for just a second. His voice went cold. Don't you trust me? After everything I've shared with you, after I've opened my heart and me son's hearts to you. Olivia apologized. She always apologized. She didn't know it yet, but every apology, every compromise was another layer of trap closing in around her. February 10th, 2024. Olivia landed in Brisbane with a heart full of hope and a suitcase full of dreams. She had no idea she'd just walked into her own execution. For Olivia, this was supposed to be the beginning of a new life, a fresh start with the man she thought was her soulmate. But the paradise she thought she'd found was in reality a trap that would close around her, faster than she could imagine. There was no grand wedding, no celebration, no family to witness the day that was supposed to mark the start of Olivia's forever. Just a rushed ceremony in a courthouse with no one to ask questions, no one to see the cracks already forming in this twisted fairy tale. As the days went on, Olivia started to feel that something wasn't right, but she brushed it off. She was just nervous. Diego had been everything she ever wanted until now. Diego's behavior began to shift. He grew more controlling, subtly monitoring her phone, restricting her messages as every communication was a potential betrayal. Arriving at the Ocean Vista Resort, Olivia thought things might settle. But the honeymoon quickly turned dark. The luxury of the bungalow online made her feel more isolated. No friends, no family, just Diego, who seemed more reticent with each passing hour. She shared a picture of herself, hoping to capture the joy of the moment. But even in that moment, she knew something wasn't right. This was the first time Olivia had seen Diego drink like this, and it was unsettling. The man who once seemed perfect now had cracks showing, and the veneer of the fairy tale was beginning to peel away. On their wedding night, Olivia made one last attempt to bring up the boys. But this time, Diego's reaction was anything but loving. He grabbed her wrist with a force that left a bruise. His eyes flashed with anger as he hissed, "Stop questioning me. You're my wife now. You don't get to make demands." Olivia had crossed a line she didn't even know existed. She was now trapped, caught in the very web Diego had woven, and she would soon learn that there was no escape. February 14th, Valentine's Day. While Diego was at the resort bar, Olivia did something that would seal her fate. She looked at his laptop. What she found was not the life of the man she had married, but a web of lies that stretched far beyond her understanding. A folder labeled Project's 67 women's profiles, each one crafted with the same meticulous detail that had drawn Olivia. But one subfolder caught her eye. Olivia, nurse, Toronto, and inside her entire life was mapped out. Every detail, every weakness, every vulnerable part of her pictures of the Singapore family. The true owners of the children Diego had passed off as his own. dating profiles on 30 for different platforms, his network of victims sprawling across the globe. Then came the chilling realization. This wasn't just a con. It was a calculated, systematic operation to break women and take everything from them. A folder named completed. The names of 5 women. Their stories abruptly ended. Newspaper clippings of suspicious deaths, drownings, suicides, accidents, and Diego's notes. To cling he had to accelerate timeline. Bank statements detailing over $780,000 stolen from women across the world. Every penny, every moment of trust had been methodically extracted, one woman at a time. In that moment, sitting in the darkness of a honeymoon suite, Olivia Chen understood 3 triple truths. The man she married didn't exist. The family she dreamed of was fiction. And she was never meant to leave Australia alive. Diego Valdez had been playing her from the very start. And now the game was about to reach its deadly end. What happened next lasted 6 hours. 6 hours of hell that no human being should ever endure. Diego returned to the bungalow and found Olivia packing. His voice was calm, cold as he spoke. "You looked at my computer. It wasn't a question. It was a statement, a verdict." She tried to run, tried to escape the nightmare she had unknowingly walked into. But the bungalow was too isolated. No one nearby, nowhere to go. Diego blocked the door, unplugged the phone. Diego didn't kill Olivia quickly. This wasn't a crime of passion. This was punishment. Punishment for discovering the truth. For 6 hours, he systematically destroyed the woman who had trusted him with everything. Diego Sadek wasn't quick. He didn't just end her life. He tortured her, reviving her each time before continuing. There were multiple attempts to strangle her, each one more desperate than the last. Olivia fought back. She had no choice. She had 47 defensive wounds on her hands and arms, every mark a testament to her fight for survival. A champagne bottle was used as a weapon, brutal and cold as Diego's rage boiled over. But Olivia, even in her final moments, fought to live. Her last action, scratching forward help into the wooden bed frame, was a silent cry for someone to hear her, to save her. But no one came. Neighbors heard screaming, but they thought it was just passionate honeymooners. An argument between lovers. No one knew the truth. No one knew Olivia was fighting for her life. At 4:37 a.m. February 15th, a resort housekeeper named Teresa Noak made a call that would break international news. The call to 911 came too late, and by then, Olivia Chen's fate had already been sealed. When Queensland police arrested Diego Valdez, they thought they were dealing with a domestic violence case. They had no idea they just caught one of the most prolific international predators of the digital age. Diego's true identity came to light in the months that followed. Behind the facade of the grieving widower and loving father was a man with a long, dark history. Diego was more than just a con man. He was a predator, ruthless, calculating, and without remorse. His ability to manipulate, deceive, and destroy was unparalleled. The psychological profile revealed the horrifying truth. Diego was a textbook psychopath, incapable of feeling empathy or remorse for his victims. He wasn't just a man who took advantage of women. He was a man who enjoyed the destruction he left in his wake. The trial began in September 2024. Diego showed zero remorse. Even smiling as victim impact statements were read in court. It was as if he didn't care about lives he had ruined. His defense team claimed it was cultural misandry, but it was quickly dismissed by the judge. The prosecution pressed overwhelming evidence. His laptop containing the profiles of dozens of women, testimonies from victims who survived, forensic proof of his crimes. It was clear Diego Valdez was a monster and the truth of his crimes would not be hidden. On December 18th, 2024, the jury delivered their verdict, guilty of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. Additional charges are pending in the Philippines, Canada, and the United States, countries where Diego's web off the site had spread and where the damage he caused was far from over. Olivia wasn't Diego's first victim, but her death finally gave voice to the women who couldn't speak for themselves. Diego's reign of terror spanned years, leaving a trail of broken lives across the globe. Women who had once held the world in their Hands only to be crushed by the weight of his lies. Every single one of these women had a future, a purpose, and a calling, and every single one of them fell victim to Diego's twisted charm. His promises of love and family, a family that didn't exist. Each woman shared something in common. They were in caring professions: doctors, teachers, veterinarians, social workers, dedicated to helping others. They were financially independent yet emotionally vulnerable, searching for love, for connection. They all believed the lie. They were all told about twin boys who didn't exist. Diego had perfected his formula, a predator who knew exactly how to exploit every weakness. Olivia's death took more than just a life. It shattered a family, a community, and left a hole that would never heal. Patricia, Olivia's closest friend, couldn't carry the burden of guilt. Few what-ifs haunted her, but she never stopped loving her best friend. Her legacy lives on, not just in the work she did, but in the lives she touched. The scholarship created in her honor will continue her mission to heal, to care, and to give hope where it's needed most. Olivia Chen may be gone, but her story will never be forgotten. For every woman who has been silenced, her voice will echo through the lives she changed, the lives she saved. Here's what's terrifying. Diego Valdez was not unique. Right now, there are hundreds, maybe thousands of predators using the exact same playbook, and you need to know the signs. Next, what? Love bombing. It's all about overwhelming you with affection. The flood of texts, the declarations of love too soon, too fast, and too perfect to be true. Isolation tactics. They'll make sure you're always available. And if you spend time with friends or family, they'll subliquitize, making you feel like you owe them more attention. Financial manipulate. It starts innocently with a sad story, but soon their requests escalate, and they'll make you feel guilty like you're the one who doesn't care. Rushing intimacy. They want you to commit before you even know them. They'll push for marriage, moving in, or deep commitment far too soon. Identity inconsistencies. Their stories didn't add up. They avoid video calls or make excuses for why they can't meet in person. And those perfect photos, they might be stolen from someone else. Control behaviors. They monitor your every move, your phone, your social media. If you don't respond immediately, they get angry. They'll tell you what to wear, who to see, and even make you out your own instincts. They don't look like monsters. They look like the person you've been waiting for, the one who promises to fill the emptiness inside. And that's why they're so dangerous, because you won't see it coming until it's too late. Olivia Chen's death was not in vain. Her story has already saved lives. Her family and friends established the Olivia Chen Foundation, dedicated to helping women recognize danger before it's too late. The foundation offers free background check services for online dating, a 247-shot line for women in toxic relationships, and educational programs that have reached 47 countries, empowering women to take control of their safety. Thanks to Olivia, over 2,300 women have been safely extracted from dangerous situations since 2024. Olivia's story also ignited legislative change. In 2024, the Canadian government passed the International Online Dating Safety Act, ensuring mandatory identity verification dating platforms. Cross-border cooperation now exists to investigation predators, and Olivia's law was introduced to protect victims of romance scams. Olivia's legacy lives on in every woman who recognizes the danger before it's too late. Survivors like Amanda carry her story forward, ensuring it never fades into the past. Olivia Asmery is honored in many ways. Toronto General Hospital's emergency wing has been renamed in her honor, and an annual nursing award is given in her name of former patients, now adults. Share how Olivia's kindness shaped their lives. And in Canada, Valentine's Day has been marked as Relationship Safety Awareness Day, a day to reflect on how far we've come and the work still left to do. Olivia Chen may be gone, but her spirit lives on in every life saved, every law passed, and every woman who is now able to recognize the signs. She didn't just change lives, she saved them. If you're watching this and something feels familiar, if you're in a relationship where you feel controlled, isolated, or afraid, if you've sent money to someone you've never met in person, If that little voice in your head is screaming that something's wrong, listen to it. Olivia Chen ignored that voice because she thought love meant sacrifice. She thought trust meant ignoring red flags. She thought commitment meant accepting behavior that terrified her. She was wrong, and it cost her everything. Don't let loneliness override your instincts. Don't let someone's sob story become your tragedy. Don't let "but I love him" the last thing you ever say. If you're in danger right now, your life is worth more than any relationship. Your safety matters more than someone's feelings. Your instincts are trying to save you. Let them. Olivia Chen spent her life saving others. In death, she's still doing it. Don't let her sacrifice for nothing. And remember, the right person will never make you choose between love and safety. This has been the story of Olivia Chen and Valdez. If this video helped you or someone you know, please share it. You might save a life. Rest in peace. Olivia, your light still shines in the darkness.